So I thought we were smart enough not to get suckered into a timeshare. So we went to go claim our little free vacation. We knew we were going to go tour a timeshare. I've never been to one before, so I didn't really know what to expect. But they were so pushy. Like, we kept saying, no, 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 no. And then he brought his manager, and then we still said, no, 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 no. And then he brought his manager, and we were like, no, 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 no. But then at the end of the day, we ended up signing. I don't know how it happened, but we did. And they were like, where are you gonna go on your first vacation? And we said, Hawaii. And then they got up and they were like, hello everyone, Mr. and Mrs. Cortez are gonna go to Hawaii. And everybody started clapping for us, and it felt so good. And then when we got home, we actually looked at the paper and we were like, bro, like, all these days like are not gonna be available. This is a fucking scam.
Yeah, that first red flag should have been them being so pushy. And to me, it sounds like an MLM. It's crazy, bro. Let's hear the next lady's story.
The first rule of getting a timeshare is never telling anyone you got a timeshare. It's embarrassing. You end up paying lots of different fees, and people think you're dumb. I swear, when I got mine, it was for more than just the free breakfast in the room. It made sense at the time. I know I'm not the only one who's stuck in a timeshare, so I'm going to show you how I got out of it. I'm going to go to cxlme.com. Then you're going to take this short questionnaire that takes about 1 minute. Someone will call you and they will take care of the rest.
I think there are 3 reasons that people regret their timeshares. I'm going to do one video for each reason. First reason are the dues and maintenance. People don't realize that when you buy a timeshare, you have to pay maintenance or dues on those points. So if you own 100 points, there's going to be a per point cost for the maintenance. If you own a week, it might be how much that week costs. Like, there are ways to calculate it. So every year, even when you've bought your timeshare, even when you've paid it off, you have to pay dues and maintenance. And those dues and maintenance fees go up every single year. So you might at one point be retired and you can't afford to pay it anymore. You might lose your job. Now you can't afford to pay it. And you can set up automatic deposit, direct deposit to take away the cost for those. But that is a cost that continues and it always goes up. And I'll give you an example. So my parents, we went to Frenchman's Cove, which is a Marriott resort in St. Thomas. My parents own with Marriott Vacation Club. And the people there were complaining because after the hurricane, their dues went up a lot because they had to rebuild their reserves and fix the hotel. And that's their resort. So their resort had some major damage and they had to be responsible for fixing it. And the dues went up so high that some people were like, I'm not going to be part of this resort anymore. It's too expensive to come here. So the dues and the maintenance can be so high that even selling your timeshare on the secondary market, for instance, you put it on Red Week, even that might not cover the dues for the year. So now you've rented your room for, whatever, $1,200 for the week, but you owe $1,500 in dues, so you paid $300 for nothing. Like, that's a major reason. So I'll do parts 2 and 3. So follow if you want more reasons why people regret their timeshares.
Hey everyone. So tonight I want to talk about timeshares. Brief little story. When my kids were small, I bought a Wyndham timeshare. I was paying $250 back then, and it was a point system. Okay. For me, it worked out. 4 kids, single mom. It was the cheapest way to take my kids on vacation, be able to spend it in a resort where you can enjoy all the amenities and have a great time and you're safe. So I used it, went to Orlando, Tennessee, North Carolina, whatever. It was great. When my kids got bigger, I decided to sell it. It worked out. I did sell it. Everything was great. My credit didn't get messed up. It worked. So let's fast forward till now. Me and my husband went to Vegas and they approached us in buying a timeshare. We thought about it. We were going to buy a timeshare for the Marriott, but then we were like, oh, and then I mentioned to him about Wyndham. I gave him my experience. I said, hey, we have had amazing experience. It was great, whatever. So it is what it is. We ended up buying a timeshare in Wyndham. I will tell you, we've had the timeshare for a year. We pay about roughly $900 a month. We were able to use it once, and that was not too long ago. We had to use it in a hotel because the resorts in Orlando were full. I will tell you, it was a horrible experience. The hotel was, I would give it 3 stars. It was not good at all. We took the whole family, well, partially of the family we took, and not a good experience. It was bad. They wanted to sell us some more points, and I got super frustrated at checking in. My husband was like, we're not here for you to sell us more points. So whatever. Bottom line is, we're stuck with this timeshare. And we're paying. It gets auto-debited from my account every month, and we have not been able to use it. I want to get rid of this shit. Do not buy a timeshare. It is not what it used to be. Every time we call, my husband one time called and was saying, okay, give me dates wherever. We'll go anywhere. Puerto Rico, California, wherever. Everything was booked. Even going 3 months out. They're liars. You cannot sell it. Okay? There's not enough space for you to be able to book. It's not available, guys. It's not available. Okay? They push you to buy the VIP package. We have up to 300,000 points we get. Okay? A year. 300,000 points. We have the VIP status, which is the biggest one. And we still cannot use it. Do not buy a timeshare. It is not good. Do not spend your money. That's just my opinion. I'm always sharing products and things that I purchase, not to gain anything out of it, just to give you guys my experience and my understanding of whatever I bought, so you guys don't have to go through the hardship that we're going through right now, trying to get rid of it. And I'm scared because we called an attorney, and the attorney wants to charge us $7,500, okay, to start the case. Really? After we put $10,000 down and we're paying every month? Like, that's crazy. So I don't know what we're going to do. If anybody has gone through this and they got out of it with an attorney, can you please send me a message? I would really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Bye.
That's just sickening. This is like hella predatory, bro. They preying on y'all folks. And this next lady, she did the unthinkable. I'm gonna let her tell you what she done did.
I just signed up for a timeshare vacation. It's 3 days in Orlando, and we get tickets to Legoland. So it might be a scam. We'll find out when I get this confirmation email. But I've been on Reddit trying to figure out what the deal is with the timeshare vacations, because I'm kind of like, hey, if this is the way to travel for cheap, I can suffer through a 90-minute timeshare presentation. Absolutely. And I don't know if this is true, but I have heard that if you have kids, they will let you leave the presentation early if you have little kids that are being disruptive, because it's disrupting other people's timeshare experiences. So that's interesting. We signed up for the confirmation email just came in. Thank you for booking with us. Okay, we'll see. They asked us a bunch of qualifying questions. Like, we have to be between the ages of, I think it was 35 and 70, maybe a little younger, if we make at least $50,000 a year, and if we have the same address on our IDs, and if we're US citizens. Okay, I'm back. I just got the confirmation email and I had to look at it to see if it was a scam. And honestly, now I'm a little worried. But, okay, maybe I'll regret this in 2 months when I go, but I'm definitely going to keep you guys posted. Anyway, so give me all your tips for surviving a timeshare presentation. I'm honestly not worried about being convinced and saying yes, because I feel like everyone kind of knows timeshares are a bad deal, but also I'm super frugal. So there's basically no argument you could make that would convince me to spend a dime on this stuff. But yeah, I don't know, if you have a timeshare experience that it means you survived a timeshare presentation, please let me know.
I ain't gonna lie, I think she cooked. Drop it down in the comments, I think she's cooked. Let's look at the next one. It says, sat through a timeshare presentation 10 years ago to get a free weekend at a resort. I will never do it again. I cannot explain how humiliating it was. I ended up buying it and it ruined my credit, my savings, and I used it literally 2 times in 10 years. The salesmen are awfully good at their job. I didn't know how hard it was to get out. I had never heard of the name that cancels it for you. I just wish I had canceled it sooner. You live and you learn. Never again.
Okay, so we had previously done this timeshare presentation a year ago. We'd had a really bad experience. Like, we showed up, we couldn't check into the hotel for like 3 hours after we got there because their internet was down. And then we got to the room and there were no towels. There was no toilet paper. There was nothing in the room. Like we couldn't even take a shower. It was like late at night. So we had to like fight for like toiletries and stuff. It took them forever to bring it. And this is all before the timeshare presentation. And you know, it's like a beautiful place, but they're trying to sell us on this timeshare and like, there's not even like amenities. You know what I mean? So we had a bad taste in our mouth. We went to the timeshare presentation and we were like, no, we don't want it. We're having a bad experience, blah, blah, blah. And this guy came out named Randy, and I knew his name, and I still remember his name because he wrote it on the packet when we were leaving. So when we were closing out the last time, Randy had he was like, you know, since you don't want it, do you want to just like buy a points package? And you get so many points and you can stay like you're an owner and give us another chance. Let us prove it to you. And, you know, I really didn't want to do this again. And I was like, okay, are we going to have to listen to the timeshare presentation again? I asked specifically. And he was like, no, you'll just use your points. You'll go on vacation. This is just a discounted rate. So you can like kind of like get the feel for it. You will have to, when you check in, be like, I'm not interested. I've already heard it. And I was like, okay, well, turns out that was a lie. So we got all these points to use. And we booked the trip, and they're like trying to book us our timeshare presentation. Like, what time are you going to come? And I was like, no, I was told, you know, we wouldn't have to do that. And they're like, no, you have to do it. And I'm like, but we were told we didn't have to. And they're like, we have to pay for it. And I'm like, I've already bought these points. Anyway, I'm like, that's not what I was told. And they're like, I don't know. That's like what you have to do. So anyway, I had to book the freaking presentation. So I'm already like annoyed about this, right? And so anyway, we get there. We go, and we had a hard time booking anything. Like every time we call, they're like, we don't have availability, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we finally get this booked. We stayed at the Hilton Grand Vacations in SeaWorld, which was like my very last choice of places to stay, but it was the only thing available. And I called, I'm looking for my brush. I called like months in advance, you guys, to book this. Like as soon as we knew we were going, I called and booked it because I knew the spring break is going to be busy. So we had a really hard time using these points. We've tried to go to like DC. We've tried to go to like Scotland, like all these places they said we could go. And finally we're just like, we'll just effing go back to Florida and just get it over with. So that's what we did. Okay, so we're back in Florida. We booked the presentation early, like 8 a.m. so that we can do it. We can do our little Disney Springs, Disney hotel resort hopping day, all the things. So we get there. And the guy comes out and he's like, hey, I forget this dude's name. He was really nice. He's like, I only do the VIP tours, which it was called VIP, the points package that we bought. And he's like, we're just going to watch the presentation and then quickly touch base. And he's like, how was your experience last time? And we were telling him, and he's like, oh, he's like, that's weird because usually we only sell these packages to people who are interested in becoming owners so that they can get another look at it before they come in. I'm like, well, that wasn't us. Like, we didn't want to be owners at all. And they're like, well, that's really weird. So anyway, we go through the thing. I've lost my brush. We go through the thing. We watch the presentation. So anyways, we come back to the guy's office and he's like, what are you thinking? And we're like, honestly, it was really hard to book these points. We couldn't find a place. He's like taking us through all the things. He's like, well, we prioritize owners. He shows us all the stuff that are available for owners, whatever. And finally he's like, it just sounds like you guys don't want this. I'm going to have Randy talk to you. He has to talk to you before you can leave and we'll get you out of here. And he walks away. And so in this office, there's like a plant. And it's like right here. In this barren office, there's like a plant on the table. And I'm like, I say to Brian, I'm like, I think there's a mic in this. And he's like, maybe. And like, I'm like, no, I think there's a mic in this. And we sit a few minutes because they like, I think feel like they want to listen to see like what you say, to see like what to give you as your next offer, right? Because then they come back with a different offer. And then I said, wait a minute. Wasn't Randy the guy that sold us this package? I said, when Randy comes over here, we should be like, Randy, why'd you sell us this? Because we weren't even interested. 2 seconds later, this guy comes back and he's like, you know what? You guys aren't interested. I'm not even going to have you talk to Randy. And he lays down. He's like, this is what we would have offered you just so you have it. I have to show it to you. He lays down this. It was like a really good deal, but we didn't take it, obviously. And then he's like, let me get so-and-so. She'll walk you out. And this lady comes and I'm expecting the hard sell because that's what comes next. But all of a sudden, we're not talking to Randy. So I think the flowers really were mic'd. Because, like, where's Randy? And the lady comes and she's like, okay, I'm going to walk you out. And she just walks us outside. Like, I'm like, that was it. So I'm like, those were mic'd. You can't tell me that wasn't mic'd. But anyway, it was fine. We survived the presentation. All in all, I think we were out of there by 9:15. We were there like an hour. It wasn't bad, but the properties that we stayed at both times, they were nice, but like they weren't nice enough for us to buy like a package to keep coming back. So
I have to share the sleaziest timeshare experience I've ever had. So if you guys know, you get suckered into doing or listening to a timeshare pitch for a couple hours so that you can get something free in return. And all you gotta have to do is say no, 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 no until you finally get out of there and get your prize. And so usually it's like a vacation, hotel stay, that kind of thing. Now, we kept saying no, and at the end, they were like, hey, we will give you a $50 restaurant gift card if you pretend to celebrate with us as if you got it. Because we're in a room with like a ton of people around us. And we keep hearing like people like clapping, like, oh, they signed, that person signed. They'll like come out with champagne and they're like, we'll give you a $50 restaurant gift card if you do that. And I was like, no. And then they were like, $100. And I was like, okay, I can be bought. And so we did it. We got our restaurant gift card. The restaurant gift card was $100 restaurant.com gift card, which is its own scam. You're basically buying coupons with that amount. So you still have to pay at a restaurant. But regardless, it was very, very obvious that all this time they're just building up this hype that all these people are signing up, and you only realize that once they ask you to celebrate that way too.
Yeah, my sister, that's how MLMs are. They get you with a good old pitch presentation. Yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I used to work 30 hours a day, and I had to get timeshare save my life, or so-and-so save my life. And they try to feed you, get you all full and suckered up. And they pitch it on you. They just throw it on you. Sign up today. What you waiting for? Go on. You got good credit. I checked. Sign up today. But look, let's look at this next clip. Y'all gonna see my uncle. Okay, Zachary Rios. Let's get into it.
And today, something I want to talk about for anybody who's thinking about buying a timeshare or who likes to go to a resort like this. Maybe when you rent it through Red Week and you come and you stay and you're like, this is gorgeous. I want to in on this action. I want to be able to stay here. And they're like, oh, you can only stay here because it's timeshare. Well, you can rent it. And that's what, the best way to do it, and keep doing that. But if you're sitting there thinking, I might want to actually purchase here, and the timeshare people are on you saying, yeah, come on, buy some more points and get in on this action, and you go there, one thing I want you to definitely keep in mind is what's known as the non-reliance clause. That will be in any timeshare information that you sign that basically says, unless it's in the contract, unless it's written down, it is not true. It's also known as the salesperson's clause to lie. They are legally allowed to lie to you. So there's some lies they may tell you about something like this beautiful resort here at the Marriott. One thing when I did my talk and they were trying to sell points to me, is they're saying, oh yeah, you'll be able to stay anywhere in the property, you get enough points. Not true.
So if you think car salesmen are bad today, they have nothing on timeshare people. They will say and do absolutely anything just to get you to sign. And it doesn't matter who you are, what kind of background you come from, they'll try to take advantage of literally anybody.
Come on, Zach. See, whenever somebody too salesy, like I previously said, you gotta look at them like, hold on, man. Yeah. Hold on, boy. You can't scam me. And this last but not least clip is going to tell you what our biggest regret is. Y'all take a guess. Let's look at it.
I think my biggest regret in life is buying a freaking Hilton timeshare. They sucked me in.
I am being stalked by a Branson timeshare guy.
If there was a resale market, we'd be all over it.
Sure.
We'd all be billionaires because everybody wants out of their timeshare. You got about 10 million timeshare owners in the country. You call all 10 million of them, majority of them would love an opportunity to get out of it.
I am about to go on an absolute tirade against timeshare, so if you don't want to witness this, you may go. Okay, so timeshares have rebranded as vacation clubs to look sexy, but it's kind of like scented trash bags. Garbage with perfume is still garbage. 85% of timeshare owners regret their purchase. For starters, because the numbers do not make sense for most people. The average upfront cost of a one-week timeshare is $24,000. Right off the jump, that money could have been used to pay for a flip ton of other vacations. But you also pay increasing maintenance fees, even though you don't own the place. You do own the right to stay there, provided you beat out everyone else fighting for that week. And best believe you gotta pay up even if you don't get to use your time at all. Wait, it gets worse. Even though you're going to pay out the nose for a chance to stay somewhere nice, the salesperson is going to make you think it's the best deal of your life, using techniques up to and including outright fudging the numbers about how much it'll cost you. Because timeshares sometimes use what attorneys call the license to lie clause, which, quote, absolves the developer of responsibility for anything the sales reps say. I'll see you in part 2 because I am genuinely not done ranting about this.
Come on, my sister. She was cooking like my grandmother on a Sunday morning before church. What you want, baby? Eggs? You want grits? I don't want grits. Grits ain't got no flavor, grandma. But yeah, look, if y'all know anybody who's stuck in a timeshare, or if you yourself is stuck in a timeshare, share the time that you were stuck in the timeshare. You see what I'm saying? You see what I did right there about the timeshare? Okay, everybody wants to hear you. I was about to rhyme again. I couldn't do it. But hey, it's been Josh from Talk to Him, boy. And I just talked to you, boy. I'm out. I ain't gonna make the noise because my wife don't like me when I make that noise. But I'm gone.